and pandemics. Dr. Islam, a pleasure to have you on the show here tonight. Let's start with the second wave that we have entered into here in Egypt. What would you say needs to be done on the part of the decision makers and on the part of the people at this stage?
Perfect. So first, good evening, and good evening to your guests and the viewers. So you've tackled a very important point. So to end any pandemic, as we know, we do have 4 different scenarios. It's whether the virus will just fade away on its own, and that happened with SARS, for example, and MERS, or to have an efficacious and effective treatment, and so far we don't have something like this. And third one is to close the circuit between any infected and a healthy individual by lockdown. And by experience, we figured that the world will not going to be able to make a total lockdown. So we'll end up with the 4th scenario, which is to have a good vaccine that we can actually provide to the people. So since we do have only 4 options, we do have first part, which is like 50% on the government and the healthcare policy and strategy itself, which is to provide better capacity in terms of hospitals, more ICU beds, try to purchase as much possible from the PPEs and supplies, the protocols and so on. And that's actually what was done during the preparation phase of the second wave. We all know now that we do have a special authorization, the Unified Purchase Authorization, that purchased already all the supplies for wave 2. So we are well acquainted with what to purchase and what to get, especially from the treatment protocols, because currently we do know the protocols that we're going to use. If you remember at the beginning of wave 1, we couldn't identify exactly which protocol to follow. 1 month we do have dexamethasone, hydroxychloroquine, is it good, is it bad, remdesivir, favipiravir, and so on. We do have identified good protocols right now. So that's the first part. And actually the second part, which is very important, is to have a good awareness among us that second wave is as strong as wave 1. We need to follow the measures. We need to wear our masks. We need to make sure that we do have the social distancing and that we are following the precautions, and we are convinced. And I'm going to stress very fast regarding the awareness campaigns, and it's actually common between the government, the authorities, and the individuals, is I guess we need, prior to the awareness campaigns, to have a buy-in campaigns to convince people, because if we are teaching people how to wear masks and how to behave and not to be in a crowded places, first we need to convince them, and I can see from people around me that we need to convince that the virus is still vicious, transmission is not that easy, the virus does exist, it's not the end. We're going to spend the winter without a vaccine, because most probably the vaccine will arrive for a full amount that's going to cover like 20% or 30% of injections by end of quarter 1 of 2021 or quarter 2. So it's a common responsibility, as you mentioned exactly, between the authorities and the individuals. It's a common thing that we need to follow.
All right. Now,